أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ولعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. In our last discussion, we talked about how to clean a body or clothes if there is an intrinsic impurity on it, whether we clean it with qaleel water or we clean it with kur water. We talked about the laws in detail, and we said that in our next session, we're going to discuss how to purify intrinsic purity from carpet or floor. So this is what we are going to discuss today. So the question is how to purify the intrinsic impurity like blood, semen, urine, feces from carpet or floor. All right. So, like always, like before we have done it, either it's going to be with qaleel water or it's going to be with kur water. So the laws are different. So whether you clean it with qaleel water, purifying it, purifying with qaleel water and with kur water. If the impurity is you're purifying it with qaleel water and the impurity is either it's going to be urine or it's going to be blood, semen, or feces. So we divide the intrinsic purity into two, like we have done before in our previous sessions, either urine or blood, semen, or feces. So remember, we are purifying qaleel, purifying the impurity, intrinsic impurity, that is blood, semen, or feces, with the qaleel water, all right? If that is the case, then first, what do we do? First, in this case, first the impurity is removed. First, the impurity is removed with towel, with the tissue, with the napkin. First, you make sure there is no particle of the impurity there, whether it is blood or semen or feces, okay? Then put water that covers the impure area. Then what do is you put the qaleel water. Remember, we are talking about the qaleel water, the water that is less than 384 liters. All right, it could be 380 liters, it could be 5 liters, it could be 100 liters, or it could be in less than half liter, less than a liter. So if any water that is less than 384 liters is going to be qaleel water. So the qaleel water, if you are purifying blood, semen, or feces with the qaleel water, first you'll do is the impurity should be removed. Then you put water that covers the impure area on the floor or the carpet. You cover the area that is impure with the water, right? Then the next step is, there is no space, so I'm going to remove it and write it here again. Then sponge the water, sponge the wastewater. Sponge the wastewater with anything, with towel, vacuum. So when the impurity is removed, you put the unmixed water, clean water on it. You covered the area. Because you are purifying it with the qaleel water, you have to sponge the wastewater from the area, from the floor or the carpet, because that wastewater is impure on the basis of obligatory precaution. So that's why it's important that you collect that, and that there is no wastewater in that area, all right? But if the area is impure because of urine, if it's impure because of urine, then in that case, there is no need to clean the area. There is no need to remove the area from the impurity. Put water and sponge the wastewater. If it's urine, then you just put water and then you sponge it. You vacuum the wastewater, because that wastewater is impure on the basis of obligatory precaution. All right, this is all discussion if the water is qaleel water. If it is qaleel water, then how to purify the impurity with urine, how to purify the impurity with blood, semen, or feces. Okay? Now, if we have kur water, then what do? Again, we have two categories. One is urine, the other is blood, semen, feces. This is the second category. And this, if it's blood, semen, or feces, and you are cleaning it, purifying it with the cool water, then first the impurity is removed, then the hose water is put on the area. So the carpet or the floor that is impure, you put the hose water on the area, then it would be pure. Then it is pure. So you saw the difference? That in the case of pure water, there is no need to sponge it. There is no need to vacuum the wastewater. Why is that? Because we are doing it with pure water. So the hukum and the law with the pure water is different. So in that case, you just have to clean that area, put water in that area, and then that area would be pure. If it's urine, then there is no need to remove the impurity. Put the hose water on the impure area of carpet or floor. We just put the hose water, and as soon as through the hose water that area is covered, then that area of carpet or the floor would be pure. All right, so this is with regards to purifying impurity from carpet or floor. Our next question would be, what if you are unsure whether a water is mixed or unmixed? Remember we talked about mixed and unmixed water? What if you are unsure whether it is mixed or unmixed water? So what is the question? The question is that there is water in front of you. You are not sure whether this water is mixed or this water is unmixed, whether this water is muzaf or it is mutlaq. You don't know. You should categorize it as muzaf water, as mixed water, or as unmixed mutlaq water, because the laws are different. So you are not sure about it. Maybe because it's some juice, maybe because there is some other element or some other thing has dropped on it, and because of which you see that it's not clean water, it's not unmixed water. You cannot pass it as a clean water or unmixed water. So when you're unsure about something, then what is the law? If you are unsure, whether the water is mixed or unmixed, then it would not purify an impurity. So if you are unsure about the water, whether this water is mixed or unmixed, you will take it, in other words, like unmixed water, mixed water. Mosav, because you cannot purify an impurity with it. All right? And if there is an impurity that falls onto it, or this water, whether it is kur or qalil, it meets impurity. As soon as it meets impurity, the whole water is going to be impure. Whether it is 5 liters, 10 liters, 300, 500, 1,000 liters, as soon as there is an impurity, like we talked about in the mixed water, if you remember. So likewise over here, if you are unsure about some water, if it meets impurity, the whole water is going to be considered as impure. So you are not allowed to do wuzu or ghusl from this kind of water. Why this is important to know? Because the wuzu or a ghusl done with this kind of water would be invalid, and it won't be considered valid, and the water is going to be impure on the basis of obligatory precaution. All right, the water, this kind of water, if it meets impurity, is going to be considered impure on the basis of obligatory precaution. Our next question is, that is also very important. Are the splashes of qalil water or kur water while washing something with impurity, impure too? So you're washing an object that has met intrinsic impurity. Okay? So the intrinsic impurity is not going to be on its own. It has to be on a carpet or in the body, clothes, floor, or something, yeah, like blood, semen, urine, feces. So you're washing the intrinsic impurity on something, all right? So you're washing that impure thing basically, all right? Now, while you're washing it, as you may have noticed, there are splashes that come out while you're washing it. So if you're washing it, washing the impurity, washing the impure object, okay, and there are splashes coming out, what is the law regarding those splashes? Are those splashes also impure or pure? Number one. Number two, is the law different with regards to kur water and qalil water, or is it same? Inshallah, this is what we're going to discuss right now. Okay. So, if you are washing the impurity, how you are washing it? If you are washing it with qalil water, if you are washing the impurity with qalil water, the splashes are impure. But if you're washing it with pure water, the splashes are pure. See, this is what difference a kur or a qalil water would make. Like if you are washing it through a hose water, and that hose is obviously connected to a container that has 500 liters or 1,000 liters of water. All right, now you're washing it, the splashes that comes out would be pure. It's not going to be impure. Whereas if you wash it with qalil water, let's just say it's 300 liters container or a jar, all right? If you're washing it with that and there are splashes that comes out of it, then it's obviously these splashes are impure. Obviously, we're not talking about the splashes very much visible that there is blood there or there is urine there in the splashes and it's visible. It's no. We are talking about while washing, there are splashes that comes out, and these are normal splashes, and there is no visible impurity there. In case if there is visible impurity in those splashes, that's different. But if just splashes of water, then if you're washing it with pure water, those splashes are pure. Now comes the question, what is the ruling with regards to leftover water? What is a leftover water? Leftover water is a water that is a water which is there, and an animal or a man drinks from that water. It could be water as in mixed water, or it could be unmixed water. All right. If an animal or a man, any man or any animal drinks from that water, that leftover water is called the leftover water. So what is the ruling regarding that? Depends that on who is the person whose leftover is it. If it's a mu'min, then the leftover water is pure. Rather, according to some narrations, the leftover of water of a mu'min cures more than 70 diseases, right? But given that there is no other title assigned to that mu'min, for example, we don't assign him as a sick person, a mu'min who is sick. So if he is sick, then we should avoid that water. Or a person who does not take care of purity or impurity. All right? He's someone who does not practice religion. We're not talking about such kind of mu'min. A mu'min who practices religion, who is not sick, or no other title is assigned to it. The only title that is assigned to it is a mu'min who fulfills all of the conditions. So if the leftover water is of a mu'min, then it's a pure water. If the leftover water is of a disbeliever, a man, but that man is disbeliever. Ahlul Kitab. If the leftover water is a leftover water of a disbeliever, okay? Now, disbeliever, what kind of disbeliever? Ahlul Kitab, meaning a Jew, a Christian, or a Zoroastrian, according to Ayatollah Sistani. Then the water would be pure again. By pure means that you can do wuzu and ghusl with it, but it is better to avoid it. In this case, better to avoid it. Pure is considered pure, but it's better to avoid it, all right? But if the disbeliever is not Ahlul Kitab, so for example, he's a Buddhist, Hindu, atheist, communist, any one of those, then it is considered impure. So if a wuzu or ghusl done with it would be void, would be invalid. If the leftover water is from animals that are eaten or animals not eaten. If the leftover water is from the animals that are eaten, for example, like cow, goat, sheep, then it is pure. But if it's from the animals that are not eaten, right? For example, lion and other kinds, then it's abominable to use it for wuzu or ghusl, all right? Like it's makruh to use it for wuzu and ghusl. So it's better to avoid it, except for cats. Except for cats. So in the case of cats, the karahat, the abominability is not there. The rest of the animals, if the leftover water is from those, then there should not be done any wuzu or ghusl from that kind of water. So this is our discussion. This was our discussion with regards to purifying things from mixed water or unmixed water. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll continue the discussion in our next session. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.